Hello everyone. This is like the video that I haven't done like in 6 months. The last one I did was about like the cultivation theory by George Gerbner. I've decided to come back to do something similar but with a different approach, courtesy of Alan the History Nerd. He uses like PowerPoint presentations to present his slides and explain his content. Shout out to him. For today's videos, we're going to be looking at the semiotics theory by Roland Barthes. The media theory for those who do A level. And yeah, let's just get into it. Text can communicate meaning through science. Media products can communicate meaning through the use of signs that have been placed specifically by the producers. For the film producers, for example, they encode their signs and meanings through their set product, which the audience can then decode. For example, telling an actor to wear a dress to play the damsel in distress. That in itself is an encoded meaning because an audience member can decode that as beauty or marriage or whatever, something like that. Media products features they usually have a lot of mise en scène in them, such as props and costumes, and that usually establishes the overall setting. For those who don't know, the mise en scene is like the setting of how the product is set. So, like for example, an apple or a leather handle or a piece of clothing, etc. These are signs. These contribute to the signs that encode these meanings. Sometimes characters featured inside these set products may present themselves with unique body language with specific camera angles. So, in a film per se, like for example, a low angle camera angle, that's an encoded meaning. But what could that be decoded as? Okay, that may be decoded as someone is massive or tall or ginormous or powerful or almighty, etc. Likewise, a very extreme close-up shot, the meaning of that could be someone with sensitive emotion. Typically, films do that to show a character's emotion, and it could be anger, it could be envy, it could be sorrow, whatever, like anything like that. Sadness. Connotations and denotation. Denotations are the literal meaning of something. It doesn't really need explaining. For example, like when I mentioned the apple earlier, the apple is there, and it is literally there. That is a denotation. If you pick up something of your eyesight, you're denoting what you can see. But right now, I can see the screen, for example. That's a denotation. The laptop is the denotation. But the connotation is something different. The connotation is meanings associated or suggested with that something that I've denoted. So let's say I'm looking at my laptop, right? That's a denotation. What does that mean? Okay, what could that mean? Okay, well, my laptop is a piece of technology. It could mean the connotation could be something advanced or something geeky, for example. Another analogy you could use is okay, so spicy sauce, that is a denotation when you open the fridge. The connotation of that is, okay, so the hot sauce may depict fire or something really hot or something to do with hell, for example. The construction of meaning becomes self-evident. Meanings have become so obvious to the audience, they no longer need to explain what it is. This means that when audiences see that sign or image, they now know what the producers are trying to communicate. Again, like I explained earlier, the constructed meanings that are decoded by the audience, the encoded meanings by the producers, and the decoded versions or meanings the audience participates in, which again makes it very easy to spot signs that have been put in by the producers. By achieving the status of myth through the process of naturalization, the media takes ideas that are complex and turn it into digestible information for the audience. Myths are now easier to normalize thanks to the media via the use of TV, the press, radio, phones, and the internet. Using advertisements to convey those myths into meaning by connecting them. Examples: hermeneutic codes, in other words, enigma. You don't really have to use the word hermeneutic. you want to sound classy, you can do that, but just say enigma. Enigma means mystery. So again, the idea of myth, you know, and periodic codes. Like I said earlier, there's no need to use that terminology if you're unsure that you're going to remember it, or you can just refer to it as symbolic and verbal codes. Symbolic code being like the images or the signs of what you can see. So, for example, if I'm looking at a set product, if I'm looking at Tide, for example, one symbolic code is women hugging the washing product. That's a symbolic code. But what does that mean? Well, that's up to you to decide. It can mean many different things. Patriarchy, for example, or historical context of women and housewives, etc. And verbal code. So that's the text that you see. So if we're looking at, for example, Tide or Beyonce, two set products in media, they are videos and they have lyrics in them, and some of the verbal code that you can see are the lyrics, and they have their own meanings depending on how you look at it. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the semiotics theory. Overall, it's a theory that is centered around the idea of decoding encoded constructed meanings. You have to deconstruct these meanings. There are different ways to do that. There are different mechanisms of that, as I already explained. This video is essentially just a test to see if this format works. Let me know in the comment section if you like this new format, and if the reactions are positive, I might do it again, and I might continue doing this style of video.